my son's friend committed suicide New Year's Eve, and I watched myself go through the pain and rise above and see the love and compassion that was going to come out of it, and come back to the pain, and and him too. But I just wanted to know if you had anything to offer.
And this is one of the hardest things, the suicides that are so unexpected and unknown, and they create the energy of so much helplessness and so much confusion and so much grief. And we say to you, it is not the feeling bad that is against divine order. It is how you do it, and you have given a great explanation. Yes, you must feel the energy because you belong here in this moment in time, and you're in the form that feels these energies. And it is these energies of pain and suffering and shock, and the depth of your grief is only equal to the depth of the love that you feel for those who suffer. And the more that you open your heart, and the more that you ask and answer questions of yourself, the more that you guide yourself into a higher consciousness, the more intensely you will feel the emotion and the shock. And yet we say to you, you have already observing yourself. You have already seen this emotion, this energy is real. And yet I can perceive, I can zoom out, I can go into a bigger level where all is connected and all is good. And we want to be sure that you understand the experience of great, intense, painful emotion is not to punish you. It is not to punish those that are left behind. It is so not about punishment. It is about the energies that are created from the consciousness in the pain. And because you have a long history as humans, and the animals too, you have a very long history of not being conscious in the pain. This is why it seems so repetitive and difficult. And yet, we believe that you all are sensing how quickly everything is speeding up. Your technology, your information, your exchanges, your choices, speeding up quickly now. And so when you choose to do the hard human work of observing yourself, the observer role, this is the sole aspect that is available to you, not all of it. But the more you develop the observer role in partnership with the earth personality, this is the consciousness of the energy that is evolving. And if you could see a very big picture of it, if you could zoom out and see, you would find that the more people willing to feel the pain and not create from the pain, the willingness to feel grief, to be conscious with the shock when you would rather not, to weep with sorrow for those that are suffering, and also choose to create instead from love and connection and truth at the same time. That is the transformation, that is the evolution, that is the change. So we would give it to you in a different way, and not to be making light of the situation. And yet this is the picture that we perceive when we share with you. We perceive these are the pictures that you are ready to receive and see. So if you think of how hard it was for people who had no plumbing, the difficulties in cold weather, in hot weather, to have no sanitary means, what it would cost them, the inconvenience, it was showing up in that discomfort and saying, yes, and yet I love life, and I love my family, and I love my children and my grandchildren, and I desire to show up in this and find a solution. This is the same energy, and yet that is a picture that you can perceive without the emotion. And yet it is all the same across all of the experiences on this plane of existence. When you witness the devastation of a life lost, it is not to stay in the devastation. It is to wake yourself up so that you might love your life a little bit more. It is to remind you that you do not control birth or death, ever. And in that, it is the invitation to learn the skill and the stamina to let go of control and choose love anyway. And when your heart is breaking, and when your heart is stretching, and when your heart feels ripped open, that it's feeling more emotion than it can possibly contain, it is when you choose to observe and evolve the earth personality to keep loving, to keep choosing connection, to keep choosing possibility and positivity and gratitude, even when you know how much it could cost you to love. This is the evolution of consciousness in this dimension. And we would also remind all of you, there are many, many beings now leaving, and they will leave very rapidly. They have contributed in the way that fits the divine order. And no, you cannot see it all. And it is very conflicting and difficult for the human consciousness to understand that there is not fate as you perceive it. It is always a dynamic, moving, divine order. It is always a connection, a cohesive creation together. And so those that are leaving, it's not so much in the language that you've used that they came in and knew they would leave at that time, although it much seems that way. It is that all the people influenced by their leaving, by their death, by the betrayal of what they thought would never happen, all the people in the unexpected energy, the shock of it, the confusion of it, the chaos of it, the pain of it, that is the energy that invites people to wake up. And some will, and some will not. And those of you that have agreed to be highly conscious in this incarnation, you do feel everything so much more than those who are buffered by unconsciousness. And yet it is not that you are paying a higher price. It is that you amazing beings, you are contributing at a greater level. And so we want to honor you, and we want you to feel that we support you in your difficult choice to stay conscious in all of it and witness the sorrow. It is not the sorrow that we want you to stay in. We want you to experience the sorrow in full consciousness and then be the choice to love even more fully, even as you know the earth cost.
Thank you. Answered my question perfectly.